Welcome to another episode of Game Review. Today we have an interesting lineup. We've got Alexander Grischuk up against Jan-Krzysztof Duda. The game was a matchup in round 2 of the Lindores Abbey Rapid Challenge. This tournament was hosted as part of the Magnus Carlsen Chess Tour and was a 15 plus 10 second online rapid tournament. So before we jump into things, please hit the subscribe button and feel free to comment in the comment section below if you guys want us to review any specific games. Okay, let's get started. Alexander playing with the white pieces went d4, and Duda went d5, c4, c6, knight f3, knight f6, e3, e6, bishop d3, d takes c, bishop takes c4, knight bd7, castles, bishop d6, Queen c2, standard queen's gambit declined type of position, and there's a couple of logical ideas here. Sometimes black goes for these b5 type of lines, usually develops the bishop to b7, might look at a6 pawn to move, and then later on c5 as well. c5 immediately is also an option, and then obviously after castling, a usual idea for black is to also play e5, just looking for a pawn break in the center. And the structure of the position changes quite dramatically depending on which option black chooses to go with, which type of plan. And white's general plan would obviously just be to play e4, knight c3, get a strong hold in the center with pawns. Those old aronyms are which my system ideas. And see how the game progressed, and Jan-Krzysztof decided just to castle, get his king safe, and after e4, e5. And the big issue here is black must prevent e5, and e5 seems like the logical solution. Alexander Grischuk complies with bishop e3, queen c7, h3, e takes d4, bishop takes d4, and now we saw Jan-Krzysztof Duda playing h6. There's another game in these type of positions where black went for b5, bishop d3, bishop e7, knight bd2 a6, a4, rook a8, rook fe1, rook fe8, rook a1, h6, bishop c3, knight c5. You guys can just do a database search on this. This is between Glatzel and Plochen in 2016 from the ICCF email. So this game ended in a draw. Instead, Duda decided to rather go with h6. It sort of makes sense to keep the knight out of g5 and e5. This is still a slight passive move here. I'm not sure if black has the time to do all of this, and should probably rather focus on getting the pieces a little bit more active. But regardless, h6 is playable. Knight bd2, rook e8, rook fe1, knight e5, bishop takes e5, bishop takes e5, knight takes e5, queen takes e5, and with all these exchanges, Sasha just went knight f3, queen h5, and e5, gaining a lot of space and some tempo on the knight and on the queen on e5. So knight h7, and now we see that white is really going for it. Very committal move, hammering down this diagonal and putting a lot of pressure on the f7 pawn, but also threatening to open the e file for the rook. So this forces black to make a choice, either to take the pawn or the bishop, but the pawn cannot stay on e6. So black chooses to go with bishop takes e6 and rook e5. Alexander finding a nice quick way to double up his rooks and get a lot of activity along this 5th rank. So now g5 gets played just to block. Here black is pinning their own piece, pinning its own piece, and after knight takes g5, a takes g5, rook ae1, Grischuk just says, listen, I'm way ahead in development, and this pin on e6 is a rather big problem for you. So Jan-Krzysztof tries to sort of wangle out of this rook e7, and just to sort of hint at doubling the rooks in order to just provide extra protection on there. The problem with this type of setup is that this bishop on e6 still remains pinned even if the rooks are doubled. And now all that Grischuk does is he goes f4 and says I am threatening immediately to go f5, and you'll have this pin to worry about on g5. So this is definitely much better for white, and there's no real way to get out of it. So queen h4 gets played and f5. Nice save with queen d4 check for the time being, an intermediate move, king h1, and bishop takes c4, and Grischuk picks up the exchange on e7. So after bishop d5, rook e8 check, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, king h7, queen e2, just threatening mate on h5, queen h4 just to stop, cover that square on h5. And here Grischuk says, I'm happy to exchange queens now, I'm sort of forcing this, and I have a definite and winning endgame to simplifying the position with queen g4. After the exchange, bishop takes a2, rook e7, b5, rook takes a7, bishop d5, and anything that black does here is just too slow, b4, locking in this structure of pawns. And after this, just simply saying, listen, I'm going to keep my rook here, covering here, and covering all of these squares as well. Tell me where your king is going to go. It's stuck. It's stuck behind this rook. King f2, this rook c7. Regardless of what white does here, black cannot progress. So just some maneuvering, and finally the position comes where white just picks up the c6 pawn, and after king h7, rook c5, it's clear that white will just simply exchange this rook for this pawn, this rook for this pawn, and simply have a winning endgame. And yeah, this was the matchup between Grischuk and Duda. Please like, subscribe, and check out the channel for more game reviews. We've been following the entire tournament so far, so if you like it, please comment and tell us if you want us to do any specific games. Thanks for watching. Bye.